I did play the game on Madden on 15, and I kind of updated the rosters. So like, I didn't have LeGarrette Blount playing, or Le'Veon Bell, or Martavis Bryant playing for the Steelers, or
That's
Marquise Pouncey.
That's
And
Madden though.
yeah, and the Patriots won 26-21.
I think 7's kind of big. The Steelers are good.
Yeah, we'll see. I think whatever the spread is for the Patriots Colts game, though, take the over if you're gonna bet.
I don't even think this is going to be the best game this weekend. I think Baltimore Denver is going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's a good game.
Indy Buffalo is going to be interesting. We should just. Do you want to pick all of them or just like a few?
Yeah, well, I did all of the games, but for like the good games, we can do like the spread. You know.
Okay, I'm not good with spreads. Oh, that was
I
going
don't
to be.
really
That's
know
my.
how spreads work either, but
My walk off is College Game Day, and how they're doing it now, and how much it pisses me off. It's so dumb. Oh man. There's this. It's kind of a.
Do you want to do the picks before or after the OTL report?
After or no before.
Okay.
Before I don't have a lot to say about the OTL report. I know you probably do, but I don't really. I mean, as far as I know, I don't know a lot about it. All I know is that it's gonna probably, hopefully, take Roger Goodell down.
Yeah. Do you do you ever read like my the descriptions of the episodes?
No, sometimes, but I can't.
Well, this
phone.
one at the very end, because I mentioned the OTL report, and the very last sentence I say, "Can ESPN be considered a reliable source anymore?" Because
nope.
they've been lying the entire time, or have been disproven.
Oh, we gotta talk
over
about
again the past
we gotta
7
talk
months.
we gotta talk about the kids too.
Oh right, yeah. Let's do that after.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm looking at this now. There's a kid from Pace University. He's the football captain. They took a Snapchat of him. He's wearing a Confederate flag outfit.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Doing a Nazi salute.
What a fucking
asshole. The caption says "The Grand Wizard." That's just bad.
What a fucking asshole.
Yeah, screw that guy.
All right, so happy NFL kickoff, week 1 picks. Oh, did you hear about that Yankee Tell-All book?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I don't know.
No, there's no way.
Believable.
There's absolutely. I don't find Torre Posada, and actually that may be true. I don't know.
Yes. Although the one thing that I don't think is true, the one thing that I don't think is true is I don't think Mariano Rivera was trying to shove a baseball bat.
I don't think any of it's true. I think it's all bullshit. But...
Although I do believe Jeff Nelson would try to do that.
I don't know. I don't know Jeff Nelson personally. I doubt Derek Jeter's gay, but that's just me.
There have been rumors that he is gay, though.
He's not gay. There's no way. You sleep with that many women.
Hey, it could just be a cover.
No, I doubt it. And Posada's married, and he has a kid.
But this is the 90s. It's like 96.
He's been married for a long time.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't experiment with Derek Jeter.
Yeah, but I don't think Derek Jeter's gay, but that's just me. I feel like there'd be more, like with Aaron Rodgers, there's people who have actually said this guy is 100% gay. Nobody's come out and said Derek Jeter is I've slept with Derek Jeter or things like that. All right.
Okay, so it's the last one. Just the walk-offs and stuff.
Yeah. I had a really good buy or sell last night, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it is, and it sucks.
All right, so the Yankee Tell-All book will be the wild card.
Oh, do we really have to talk about that? I don't want to talk about that.
I don't know. I think it would be funny.
I don't want to talk about that.
It would just be for like 5 minutes.
Why? I don't want to talk about that. I don't care.
We could skip it if you want.
I'd rather skip it. I don't care.
All right.
I think it's all bullshit. I just think it's all bullshit.
Okay. Hey, so I was thinking for the opening song, do Autumn Wind.
I was thinking For Those About to Rock by AC/DC. Would be pretty fitting.
Both are pretty. We could do that at the end. The AC/DC song.
No, I think that'd be a kick-ass song to start with, actually.
So do you want to have that be the start song and then have Autumn Wind?
What do you mean Autumn
It's the
Wind?
NFL film song.
Hang on, let me look that up. I've got a bunch of NFL films on my... Oh, we need to put NFL films music in the background when we're like making our picks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. We'll have it in the background as like we're doing our picks, but like for an intro song,
okay.
I think we should do AC/DC.
All right. So we need to, when we send this to Sean, we need to like tell him put.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'll send him some files. Let me make sure. I have the whole NFL films soundtrack. Waltz of the Goliath, Up She Rises, Roundup, Road to Victory. These songs sound so awesome.
Hey, do you not have Autumn Wind?
No.
Let me look
but
it up.
I've got all of like the classic NFL films music. Like, you know, the stuff that they always used in the background of SpongeBob episodes. I've got all of that.
You would.
But that's no. They use like all that music.
No, I know.
It was awesome.
All right, I'm looking it up right now. God damn, my computer's slow.
My computer keeps freezing. It's very annoying.
All right.
And we'll just say, let's not dwell on each game. Let's just like kind of go boom, boom, boom. Obviously, we can talk a little bit more about the good games. This one, Colts, Bills, Broncos, Ravens. Yeah. I would just say a little bit about these games, and then just kind of move on to the next one. I'm going to send Sean this whole album, actually.
This is what I'm talking about.
I can't hear anything in the background.
What?
I can't hear anything in the background.
Oh, you can't?
No, because you're doing it on your computer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it doesn't work?
That's not going to work that way, no.
All right. How about I'll look it up on my phone then.
Cool.
Although we would like skip the where it talks about the Raiders. Just do the instrumental.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about like the Autumn Wind.
Yes.
Raider. That was so badass. Yeah, we got to use that. Well, we'll use it eventually. Oh, I hear that.
And the trees all shake and quiver.
Yeah. That's sexy as hell.
All right.
Cool.
Ready to start us off?
Yes. I just got an email from somebody at Discovery, so.
Oh, okay. What did they say?
There's nothing. They just wanted me to copy and paste the information of the job.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, looks like another person might help me out.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. All right. You ready?
Yes.
I'll do that later. All right, let's do it.
Yes.
All right, well, all right.
Sorry.
3, 2, 1. All right, welcome to another episode of the Sports Pulse. I am Brian Brennan.
I'm Ethan Winter.
And Sean McNiff cannot be with us today. He is working late, but we are covering for him anyway. We're bringing you another fantastic episode of the Sports Pulse. Right now, you are listening to For Those About to Rock, We Salute You, by one of the greatest rock bands of all time. Somebody who I think should eventually play a Super Bowl halftime show, AC/DC. Maybe they should have played a Super Bowl halftime show like 20 years ago. But,
yeah, no, that's what I was going to say. Like, aren't they a little old now?
I mean, the Who was a little old, but that was...
The Rolling Stone was really old, and that was not good when they did the halftime show.
But AC/DC kicks ass. AC/DC is awesome. And for those about to rock, we salute you. And for those of you in the NFL, we salute you too, because the NFL season starts tonight. Ethan is decked out in his Patriots gear. You can't see it, but he is 100% dressed to the nines in Patriots gear. The Patriots take on the Steelers tonight, raising a banner in Foxborough. It is the opener to the NFL season. We're all pumped. I'm pumped.
Yes.
Ethan's especially pumped because the Patriots play tonight, but this is exciting.
Yeah. I'm only pumped because the Patriots are raising a Super Bowl banner tonight. And there's actually a meme on Facebook where it's a picture of the banner, and instead of the Super Bowl logo, it's the middle finger, like flipping off the rest of the NFL. I loved it.
I'm sure you did.
Yes.
Nothing less.
I'm only excited for the Patriots. For the rest of the NFL, I could give two shits about them, but I'll pick the games anyway.
NFL is just one of those things where, like, it's easy to, sometimes, get lost in what they're doing and what happens off the field.
And don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of people, myself included, who were like, that's it, I'm never watching an NFL game again after this offseason. But now that we're so close to football, I'm just like, hell yeah, bring it on. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to run through the wall. I'm ready. I don't even care. I don't like the Patriots or the Steelers, but I'm still going to watch tonight's game. I'm stoked.
Right. Well, you don't like any team because the Jets suck. And
the Jets are just terrible.
And you vow that you would never root for the Jets again. You'll just be a fantasy football fan and root for your fantasy players, not an actual team.
9 fingers out to run shit.
Squish the commish is going to squish the commish this fantasy football season.
Well, I'm going to take care of
Scrub Nation. Too bad John Rice isn't watching this or with us.
I'm going to take care of him in week 1. But speaking of week 1, games start tonight. Patriots, Steelers, we've all made our picks. Ethan, since this is your team, I will let you take the floor on this one. Obviously, I'm going to assume you did not pick the Steelers. So
yeah. I asked Sean if he could send us his picks, but he hasn't done that yet. But
he's at work. He's a busy man.
Yeah, you are correct, Brian. I am taking the Patriots in week 1. The line is -7, and if I were to bet on this game, I would be taking the over, just because the Steelers' defense is not that good. Plus, Tom Brady is pissed off. The Patriots are pissed off, and they're just going to go in FU mode and try to blow everyone out this season. So I got the Patriots 38-21.
I'll say for reference before I start making my picks here that I just don't do scores because it's so easy to say, like, this game's going to be incredible right down to the wire. It's going to come down to a field goal. So, and I got burned on that during the Broncos-Seahawks Super Bowl. So since then, I just don't pick scores anymore. But I do think the Patriots are going to win tonight. I thought the line was a little high, to be honest, because of the fact that, yes, the Steelers' defense is bad, but for the first time ever, it's kind of a reversal situation in Pittsburgh where their offense has the potential to be off the charts amazing. And maybe not this week because Le'Veon Bell's going to be out.
And so is Martavis Bryant.
And Martavis Bryant and Marquise Pouncey. So Roethlisberger has the chance to get knocked down tonight. And if the Patriots do that, it should be smooth sailing and a win for the Patriots. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be – sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say I forgot to mention this last week when we did our season preview. But I think the way that the Patriots are playing defensively is that they're going to have a strong pass rush up the middle. They have a very strong front seven. And I think that's going to kind of hide some of the deficiencies of the secondary. And so without Marquise Pouncey, it could be a long night for Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers tonight.
And I don't know how long, or I don't know if it's going to be like that. I almost see this as more of a high-scoring offensive type game. And, I mean, like I said, I don't do scores. I still think the Patriots are going to win. But I think it's going to be close. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion in this game on both sides, really, and especially on the Patriots side because of everything that happened this offseason. It's been crazy. It's been a whirlwind, and I think it could potentially propel them to victory in a way. But I think it's going to be a close game. I have the Patriots winning this one.
So the over-under on total points is 51. Do you have the over or under for that?
And this is combined?
Yeah, combined points.
Combined points 51? Okay. That's a tricky call because these are two good offenses. I think I'm going to go with the over.
Okay. I think both of us went with the over because I had 38-21 as the final score. So that would be at 59. Yep. So that's your first pick of this week.
And were they really – I have a question for you as a Patriots fan. Were they really not going to raise the banner if Brady was still suspended?
Yeah, they really weren't.
I think that's kind of weird, but
I think it's badass, and it's just like a big FU to the NFL. Like the banner that they would have raised or unveiled was a Tom Brady jersey that says 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, which I think is completely badass.
Well,
if they did that. But I'm glad Tom Brady's playing.
At the same time, you have to remember that winning the Super Bowl is a team accomplishment, not just Tom Brady's accomplishment.
Yeah, but the Patriots wouldn't have won the Super Bowl without Tom Brady.
That is also true. That is also true.
So
there's sides to both arguments.
Yeah.
I just would have done it anyway because remember Giants won the Super Bowl and Michael Strahan wasn't there the next year and
but Michael Strahan retired. That's different.
I know.
I mean, there's a big difference than being wrongly suspended for 4 games over a stupid thing as air pressure than it is retiring from football.
That is true. But either way, they're raising the banner tonight. It is the Patriots' 4th Super Bowl championship, and we both think they're going to go to 1-0 on the season. Moving down the line, that is the only game until Sunday when the action really picks up. We have teams playing left and right. The madness completely returns, and I'm just going based off of ESPN's scoreboard here. The first game starting at 1 o'clock, Green Bay, Chicago. I think it's at Soldier Field, if I'm not mistaken. And long-time rivalry, 2 teams going in very different directions. I think this is a pretty easy one to pick. I'm going with the Pack.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers also. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Bears are going to be terrible this year. And Aaron Rodgers is a perennial MVP candidate. I think he's going to win Offensive Player of the Year this year. And so it's even without Jordy Nelson, the Packers are just so much better than the Bears because they're without Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler kind of he's Jay Cutler. That's really all I can say.
Classic Jay Cutler. I mean, eventually, I think Chicago might be not as bad, but this week's not going to be good for them.
Yeah.
Alshon Jeffrey's probably out. Good fantasy pickup would be Eddie Royal, but you're not going to get him because I got him. And yeah, so I think the Packers win this one pretty easily. Yeah.
Surprisingly, the line's only -6. I think that's a little low.
I would also agree with that. I would take the over on that significantly.
Yeah.
And moving on now, down from Chicago to the Lone Star State, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Houston Texans in Houston. First game for both of these teams. Kansas City was my pick to win the NFC West or the AFC West this year. So I think I'm going to pick them to get off to a hot start in this one. I'm going to go with the Chiefs on the road. I don't know who the favorite is, but I have to imagine it's Kansas City. I mean, do you have the line on that one?
Yeah, I'm checking it right now. It's Houston by 1, but that's because they're at home.
That's kind of a toss-up.
So it's essentially Kansas City +2.
Basically.
I actually have the Texans, but you're exactly 100% right, Brian. It was a toss-up for me trying to pick this game. I actually thought that the Texans would make the playoffs this year as a wild card at 10-6. So I went with the Texans to win the first one at home.
Yeah, I think this will be an interesting game to watch. Obviously, I want Jamal Charles to do well for fantasy points, but I think Houston's going to be I think Houston will be better than they've been the last 2 years. J.J. Watt, of course, is just tremendous. I think Wilfork's going to be great for them. I think he's going to be a great addition. And I think Clowney is going to break out a lot this year.
Right.
Davion, I think, is finally – I don't think he really played a lot his rookie year.
No, because he was hurt. He was hurt a lot.
He was hurt a lot of his rookie year.
Yeah.
And so I think now that he's healthy, he's going to I think that the thought of a J.J. Watt, Vince Wilfork, Jadeveon Clowney defensive line is just very, very, very scary.
Yeah, that's a very good defensive line. One of the best, if not the best, defensive line in the NFL.
Yes.
The thing with Wilfork, though, is it's going to be his health. His health is going to be a big factor.
And that's a problem for Clowney, too.
And he's a heavy dude. He's a big guy, so age a little bit faster. So that's going to be a big key for the Texans moving forward. But I think for Week 1, they're going to get it done. They're going to be able to stuff Jamal Charles, and the Chiefs don't have much of a passing attack.
This is, I would say, one of the more interesting games of the week. I didn't realize how interesting this was, but I have a buy or sell for this one. Do you buy or sell J.J. Watt scoring in any capacity in this game, either as a tight end, as a defensive player? Do you see J.J. Watt doing anything like that in this game?
Yes, I do, because I can see the Texans. I mean, Bill O'Brien, he's a very creative guy. He's a very creative coach, and he comes from that Bill Belichick
very well
coaching tree. And last year he did the same thing. He used him as a tight end at times. So I definitely see J.J. Watt scoring in any capacity in this game.
That would be interesting to see. He got 3 touchdowns as an offensive player, and if I'm not mistaken, at least 3 touchdowns as a defensive player last year.
Yeah, didn't he have a fumble recovery and 2 interception recoveries for a touchdown?
Something like that. J.J. Watt's a freak. I mean, he's just a beast. But I'm gonna stick with my. I know I've been talking about the Texans mostly this pick, but I'm still picking Kansas City. I still think Kansas City's going to win this game. I think Kansas City is solid defensively. I think Jamal Charles is. I mean, I think he's fantastic. I think Alex Smith will be better this year. It was crazy. They hadn't thrown a touchdown to a wide receiver in over a year.
Yeah,
until this preseason,
that's
which is
insane.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane.
But I still think Kansas City wins this one. Moving on, we have the Cleveland Browns and the New
toilet
York
bowl.
Jets, the first stinker of the day. The Jets at home playing at MetLife. I've got them winning this one. I don't think either of these teams are particularly great. In fact, I don't know why the NFL is making people watch this week one, but it's, week one should be for showcasing good teams, I think,
right?
And
yeah.
showcasing good teams against each other too.
Well,
but
yeah.
There's got to be at least one dud. This is it. I'm going with the Jets though. I think they'll win this one actually by 7 or 10 points.
Yeah, I picked the Jets winning this one. Too. This is essentially a toss-up because it's Jets -3 on the line. I think the over/under 40 is kind of high. I'm going to go with the under, and I'm going to say Jets win 19-16. That's just what this game feels like. A 19-16 game with a shit ton of field goals.
I can't believe. What did you say the over/under was on this again?
40 total points.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under on that one too. All right, moving on. This is a good one coming up. In Buffalo, we have the Buffalo Bills against the Indianapolis Colts. Two teams, one of whom has, I think, legitimate Super Bowl aspirations. The other is trying to make the playoffs for the first time in the millennium.
Yeah, first time
I think they've got a good chance to do it.
First time since 97, I believe, which was the year of the Music City Miracle.
It was 99. 99 was the Music City Miracle.
That's 2 years off.
And, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's not too far.
That's the longest yard Super Bowl.
Yes.
That year.
Super Bowl 34, if I'm not mistaken. Either way. Buffalo hasn't made the playoffs since that moment. They've been trying to get back as a franchise ever since, and right now it's looking like they could break through. I'm still not picking them this week against the Colts. I still think the Colts win this one, but this will be a good game, I think. I think Buffalo's going to do well this season. I think they're going to do better than they've done. Well, last year they went 9-7, right?
Right, and because Kyle Orton retired, that's a huge loss for them. I mean, right. That's kind of bizarre saying that because Kyle Orton, it's a big loss for a team.
That's
but
crazy.
It's true because the Bills don't really have a quarterback. It could be Matt Castle, it's Tyrod Taylor this week, or it could be E.J. Manuel. All three of those quarterbacks could start a game this season, which is really concerning if you're a Bills fan. On the defensive side, though, the Bills are fantastic, especially when you add a coach like Rex Ryan. His defenses are always good. But I have the Colts winning this one because I think no matter how good the Bills' defense is, I think Andrew Luck will always be able to do just enough. I think it's going to be a close game. The over/under is 45. Line is Indy 2.5. So I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going with the Colts in this one. But it's actually kind of surprising though because a lot of some of the pundits think that the Bills would win this game this week.
A lot of people think the Bills are going to be very good this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Bills are going to be like earth-shatteringly good, but I think that's a franchise that's definitely going in the right direction.
They just need to add a quarterback.
Now that exactly. Now that they've gotten out of the Ralph Wilson era, Ralph Wilson, of course, passing away last year, and now they're owned by the Pagula family, who's committed to keeping the team in Buffalo. They went out and got Shady McCoy, hired Rex Ryan. That's a franchise, drafted Sammy Watkins. It's a franchise going in the right direction. If they had a legitimate quarterback, I'd say look out for sure. But still, Colts win this week. We both had that one. Moving on, we're talking about kind of lame games this week. We've got 2 in a row coming up here, so bear with me, or bear with us, I should say. The Miami Dolphins against the Washington Redskins in Landover this week at 1 o'clock. You talk about teams that have had absolutely ridiculous off seasons. The Redskins are one of those teams. It's like a circuit. Sean's not here, so you can kind of laugh at the circus that is the Washington Redskins. It's a disaster, and I think it's going to translate. I think everybody thinks, including Redskins fans, think it's going to translate into poor on-field results. This week should be no different. I think the Dolphins blow out the Redskins.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Dolphins are going to blow out the Redskins as well. The line's surprisingly close. Miami 3.5. I'm going to take the over on that one. I say the Dolphins win by at least a touchdown, probably by 10 or at least 10, actually. So I'm going to go 24-14 Dolphins in this one.
I'll be interested to see how Kirk Cousins plays, because even if he doesn't do well, some of the RG3 loyalists, will be clamoring for him to come back as the starter, because that's the Russian roulette the Redskins played in keeping RG3 on the roster. But I think the Dolphins will win this week. I think they're another franchise that's going in the right direction. So Dolphins win this one. I think it'll be pretty easily. Next stinker, we have the Carolina Panthers, the NFC South champion Carolina Panthers at 7-8-1 from last year, and the Jacksonville Jaguars down in Jayville. This is kind of a lame game. I'm going to watch it just because it'll be the only option I have. And I'm going to go with the Panthers winning this one, even though Kelvin Benjamin's out and it just looked terrible in the preseason. At the end of the day, the Jaguars are still the Jaguars.
Right.
I mean, if they're going to win a game, this is one that you'd think that they might have a shot in, but I still think the Panthers are going to win.
Yeah, I think the Jaguars, they're going to get their wins against, I believe, Tampa Bay and Tennessee. I believe they play the Buccaneers this year.
Right.
But surprisingly, the line is pretty close. It's Carolina by 3. I'm going to take the over on that one. I think the Panthers are going to win fairly easily. I don't think it's going to be a pretty win for the Panthers. I think the Panthers are going to score 19 points and win like 19-9 or 19-7 or something. So it won't be pretty, but a win's a win.
I agree. The Panthers, if they are going to win this year, are going to have to win a lot of ugly games like this one.
And they have to beat the teams that they're supposed to beat, and the Jaguars are one of them.
This is one of them. This is absolutely a game that the Carolina Panthers should win, and I think they will. Moving on, we have the last of the 1 o'clock Eastern time games. 2 teams from the NFC West. We have the Seattle Seahawks, the defending NFC champion Seattle Seahawks, playing the St. Louis Rams at the Edwards Jones Dome. I think St. Louis is going to be – I think we both said St. Louis is going to make the playoffs this year as a wild card team, didn't we?
Yeah, we both said that. But in terms of this game, I'm taking the Seahawks. But I believe it's going to be a close game. I believe the Rams beat the Seahawks last year, actually.
They did.
And I believe it was in Seattle.
It was in St. Louis.
Okay. So this one's in St. Louis. I believe it's going to be a tough game. I would not bet on this game because I don't really know which way it's going to go. This is a game that both teams could very easily win. It's Seahawks by 4 right now. But this is another toss-up game, but I'm going Seahawks.
I think I'll go with the Seahawks in this one too. I don't think it's as much of a toss-up. I think the Seahawks are very good this year. I think they're good every year, but this year will be no exception, especially with the addition of Jimmy Graham. Now that Russell Wilson has a pass-catching target, he's added receivers that have just been scrubs, really. So
yeah,
and he's been great with them. But now he's got a legitimate pass-catching threat in Jimmy Graham, one of the top 3 tight ends in the entire NFL.
The key to Jimmy Graham, though, is that he's got to stay healthy.
Exactly.
The last 2 years, I believe, did you have Jimmy Graham on your fantasy team within the last 2 or 3 years?
No. I've never had Jimmy Graham. But
anyway, the thing that's hampered Jimmy Graham the last few years is that he's gotten injured, and he needs to stay healthy because you can't help your team if you're sitting on the bench hurt. So he's gotta stay healthy, and if he does that, I think the Seahawks will be able to reap the benefits fully. All right.
I agree. We'll see how Jimmy Graham does this year. I think he's going to do great, but we'll see. He does have to stay healthy.
Yeah. So from Jimmy Graham's current team to his old team.
Oh yes, the New Orleans Saints. Or where are they at? Where are they at on the schedule?
They are playing.
There we are.
Arizona Cardinals.
The schedule that skipped ahead for some reason. The ESPN page. You know what I was just thinking about before we move on to this game? I was just thinking about, because I was playing Madden the other day. Can you imagine how great life would be if you could just turn injuries off? Like how much simpler everything would be.
Yes.
Like the league would be so much better if that happened.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Do you have the new Madden game?
I do have the new Madden game. Not for long though. I'm selling it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of a bummer, but whatever.
All right.
So New Orleans Saints, Arizona Cardinals. This is a very interesting game, in my opinion, in Arizona. I'm not going to watch it, but it's an interesting game. It's 2 good teams, I think. Solid teams. I won't say great. I think they're solid. I think the Saints are a popular pick to win the NFC South this year because the NFC South is such a wild card. Arizona, of course, made the playoffs last year.
Just barely.
They barely made the playoffs.
4-string quarterback.
They were down to. That's why the other thing about the Panthers, I should go back to that. People were so hyped when the Panthers won last year. They realized that the Cardinals were down to like Drew Stanton at quarterback, right?
They were down to Ryan Lindley.
I was trying to remember who it was. That doesn't count.
They had Drew Stanton, but then he got hurt. And then I think they had did they re-sign Matt Leinart and he got hurt too? And then they went to Ryan Lindley?
No, I think Leinart is done, but either way, the Cardinals finally get their stable quarterback Carson Palmer back from injury.
Oh, I think they went to Matt Barkley, but Barkley got hurt. Or am I just making things
traded
up?
for Matt Barkley. I think you're making things up in your head again, but they traded for Matt Barkley this offseason, so their backup situation's a little bit clearer. I think Arizona's going to win this game. I think Carson Palmer being back, and with the fact that although Arizona's not exactly a very intimidating place to play, New Orleans traditionally not good on the road, much better at the Superdome. Arizona wins this one, in my opinion.
See, this is actually the first game in which we actually disagreed with our picks. Because I'm going with the Saints.
We had different picks in the Texans Chiefs game too.
Oh, okay. Okay, second one. I forgot. There were so many games in a row that we had the same picks that it seemed like that was the first one.
Yeah.
But I'm going with the Saints on this one. The Saints are kind of a weird team. Because they have Drew Brees, they have that cachet as being a legitimate playoff contender. But if you look at the rest of their team, especially since they no longer have Jimmy Graham, it's really just Drew Brees by himself. It's just like how he was when he was in San Diego minus LaDainian Tomlinson. So it's even worse. And also the Saints defense isn't that good, but I'm still going with the Saints on this one. I think it's going to be a shootout. So I'm going with Saints in this one. The Saints, I believe, the Cardinals. So
you said
I'm taking the Saints plus one.
Favorites?
Yeah, the Cardinals are 2-point favorites. So I'm taking the Saints plus one on this one.
All right. So first game we disagree on. That's okay.
Second game we disagree on.
Second game. Excuse me. Now I'm forgetting. Moving on, we have a little bit further on the left coast. We have the San Diego Chargers. Maybe not the San Diego Chargers for long, but we'll see about that next offseason. Against the Detroit Lions, two teams that made the playoffs last year. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the Chargers not only made the playoffs but won a game. Game is in San Diego.
I think the Chargers just missed the playoffs. Actually, I think the Chargers just missed the playoffs last year.
Well, either way, the Chargers have been in playoff contention for a while.
Right.
They're the solid team. This will be a good one, I think. Detroit, San Diego. I'm going to go with San Diego.
Yeah, I'm going with San Diego also. The Lions, they lost Ndamukong Suh, a big part of their defense. Did the Lions lose any other key players too? I forget.
I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but I know they added Haloti Ngata this offseason, which was a big acquisition, especially getting rid of Ndamukong Suh and replacing him with Haloti Ngata. I think it's almost, I don't want to say addition by subtraction because Suh's great, but I think Ngata is almost at that level too. So I thought that was a good trade.
I mean, it was pretty much an even trade with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But
you let Suh walk and he takes his money in Miami, and you get a solid player in return almost.
Right. But I'm going with San Diego this week. The Superchargers are always pretty solid at home. And I just like Phillip Rivers in this game. So I'm going with the Chargers.
All right, cool. And in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, go Chargers, go. As he used to say all the time. Moving on to another stinker, the 425 stinker, I should say, because we had a few duds at one, but this is the undisputed 425 stinker.
I think this is the worst. I think this is the worst game of the entire week.
This is the top two teams in this past season's NFL draft. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who selected Jameis Winston, and the Tennessee Titans, who selected Marcus Mariota. This game is absolutely terrible. I don't have anything to say about this one. I don't know. What the hell? I'll go with the Titans winning on the road.
Yeah, this is another toss-up because both teams are terrible. It's kind of interesting because you have the last two Heisman Trophy winners facing off in this game. Marcus Mariota
and the top
Jameis
two picks in the draft too.
Exactly. So I think even though this game kind of sucks because both of these two teams sucks, I think the fact that it's Jameis Winston versus Marcus Mariota is going to make it at least intriguing, I should say. But I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one also. It's once again, it's just another toss-up game. It could really go either way.
Yeah, moving on. I think, in a way, I think that just before we move on, if Jameis Winston and Marcus Mariota both prove to be successful, and that's a big if, especially in the NFL, they could have a similar career trajectory in which they're going to be forever linked. You know, you mentioned that they won the last 2 Heisman trophies. They played each other in the Rose Bowl this past year in the playoff, and they're playing each other. They went 1-2 in the draft, and now they're playing each other in their first game. So Marcus Mariota, Jameis Winston, going to be linked together for a long time in this league. If they prove to be successful, who knows? It's a big what if. But
yeah, personally, though, I think both of these quarterbacks are going to end up not being that successful in the NFL, just because I don't think pure running quarterbacks can be successful in the NFL in the long run, as we've seen with RG3.
Yep. That wasn't even the long run. That was like the span of
1 season.
Years.
It was 1 season.
Yeah. Moving on to...
Oh. I just lost you, Brian.
No, I'm still here.
Okay.
Give me 1 second. I got to take care of it. I think you've been crackling in and out, so I think I'm going to fix it.
No, I just lost you when you were talking. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. I think we fixed it now. But moving on now to the AFC, or excuse me, to the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Oakland Raiders, who, like the San Diego Chargers, may not be in Oakland for much longer. I'm going to go with the upset here. I'm going to take the Oakland Raiders at home. And that may just be because I love Straight Outta Compton and they were all wearing Raiders gear. But I think that the Raiders are an interesting team this year with Amari Cooper, who I think is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. If you listened to the show last week, I said that. I don't think the Raiders are going to win a lot of games this year, but I think this will be one of them. So this is my shocker of the week. I'm going with the Oakland Raiders beating the Cincinnati Bengals at home in the black hole.
Yeah, I disagree. I have the Bengals winning this one because even though Andy Dalton is kind of overrated as a quarterback, he's still a pretty good quarterback.
Right.
Especially in the regular season, he still puts up solid numbers. He's a good backup fantasy quarterback to have on your team. And it's Bengals -3. So it's
that's a little bit closer than I thought.
Well, yeah, I agree, but essentially it's Bengals by 6 because the home team automatically gets 3 points in the spread.
Right.
So it's essentially Bengals by 6. But I think AJ Green is going to outshine the young stud Amari Cooper, and I think AJ Green's going to go off. I think Jeremy Hill is going to go off as well, and I believe Giovanni Bernard is going to grab a couple touchdowns as well. So I'm going Bengals in this one.
All right, so we disagree on that one. I'm just going to I just want to be bold, so I'm going with the Raiders in that one. This might be the best game of the week coming up at 4:25. We've got the Denver Broncos and the Baltimore Ravens. It's a matchup of 2 teams you absolutely hate. One of these teams I hate.
I hate the Ravens more than I hate the Broncos.
Well, it's pretty hard not to hate the Ravens,
yeah.
But there's a lot of reasons. But these 2 teams have met plenty of times in the last couple of years. They've met in the regular season. They've met in the playoffs. Ravens fans, of course, remember the game in Denver where Joe Flacco threw that touchdown to Jacoby Jones, and then they won in overtime. It
was a big comeback too, I believe.
Yeah, it was a good game. That was one of the better playoff games I remember in recent years.
But I think the Ravens came back. They had a pretty sizable deficit, and they came back and won.
Yeah, and then they went on to win the Super Bowl and the Harbaugh Bowl. This will be an interesting one. These, like I said, these two teams have met multiple times on multiple different stages, but I'm going to go with Denver winning this one at home in what I think will be a good game. I think this could be a back and forth affair, but I'm going to go with Peyton Manning winning this one at home. I think I said this last week, Peyton Manning is getting to the twilight of his career. We all saw it at the end of last year. He's had an amazing run, a fantastic career. But it's coming to the end, but he wins this one. I got the Broncos winning this one in a shootout.
Yeah, I have the Broncos winning this one also. The over-under for this game, 48.5, Denver by 4 is the line. I'm gonna take a push on this one if I were to bet.
Right.
Like you said, Brian, it's going to be a very close game. Ravens are among Super Bowl favorites this year for many folks, not myself, obviously. If you can take a guess. But a lot of people do have the Ravens being Super Bowl contenders. Some have them winning the Super Bowl, but Peyton Manning always gets off to a hot start. He got off to a hot start last year. He got off to a hot start the year before. And the year before, he actually torched the Ravens for like 6 touchdowns in the opening game in Denver. So I have the Broncos winning this one. But it's going to be a close game.
It'll definitely be one I'm going to keep an eye on. That's for sure. All right.
Yeah, I'm not watching the game, but it's going to be a good one. I'm only watching Patriot games this year.
Yeah.
Screw the
NFL.
NFL.
You saying that.
All right.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Moving on to the Sunday night game. These two teams have been playing on Sunday Night Football to start the year for the last couple of years. It is the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World against the New York Giants. Cowboy fans, of course, still will never shut the hell up about that play in last year's playoffs.
In fairness, though, I've looked at it again, and I still don't understand how it was not a catch.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can understand from both sides, really. At the end, he totally lets go of it, but did he have it for long enough? I would say so.
Right.
I would have called it a catch. Either way, the Cowboys are angry this year. I think they're going to win this game against the G-Men. I think the G-Men are going to be better than people think, but this week's going to be tough for them. There's no Victor Cruz. He's out. So Odell's going to kind of have to carry the load. And, it's kind of a race against the clock right now to get Eli Manning signed to a contract extension. Is Jason Pierre-Paul going to play? Is Jason Pierre-Paul ready to play?
Is he going to be effective?
How many fingers does he actually have? A lot of questions this week. So, I mean, I think the Giants will be better than people are giving them credit for, but I think the Cowboys will win this one. Cowboys always get off to good starts, and I think they'll get off to a 1-0 start this week. I'm going to watch a little bit of this game if I can. I have to work the next morning, but I am going to watch a little bit of this one, of course. I'm going to go with the Cowboys winning this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cowboys, too. Tony Romo finally has a good, strong offensive line last year, and it's a good offensive line again this year. And in the Giants, like you said, Brian, they have a lot of questions. And I think the Giants are actually going to have a down year this year, and I think a lot of people are pretty down on the Giants and high on the Cowboys and Eagles. So I'm going with the Cowboys this week. Let me look up the line. It's Cowboys by 6, which I would say is a pretty good line. And the over-under is 51. What's your take?
Really? I would take that too.
Would you take the over or the?
I'd probably take over on that.
Okay.
just because I don't trust the Cowboys defense, and I definitely do not trust the Giants defense.
Yeah.
And I trust both of these offenses. So 51 points over seems right.
Yeah, I would take the over also. And I'll take the points too.
Moving on to the first of 2 Monday night games this week. We have the Philadelphia Eagles against the Atlanta Falcons down in the ATL at the Georgia Dome. Game kicks off at 6:55. I think this is going to be an interesting one. These are 2 good teams. I'm going to go with the Falcons winning this one at home to start the year. A lot of people are high on the Eagles and the moves they've made this offseason, but I'm down on them. I don't think the Eagles are as good as people think they are. And in the opposite perspective, I think the Falcons are better than people are giving them credit for. If Matt Ryan has time to throw the ball, he's got the weapons. And so I'm going to go with the Falcons winning this one, and what I think will be a pretty good game.
Yeah, I think this will be a really good game. The line is Eagles by 3, and the over/under is 55. What do you think about the over/under?
You said it was 55?
Yeah.
I think I would take the under on that point. Just because I don't know what the Eagles offense is going to do.
Right.
I have no clue.
They did add DeMarco Murray.
Right.
I think they went backwards in the quarterback department by going with Sam Bradford. The key to Sam Bradford is his health. But I have the Eagles in this one because honestly, the Falcons are a tough team to pick. They seem to be good every other year. Or they start off hot and then they fade in the later on in the season. And also the Falcons' defense is pretty suspect. So I'm taking the Eagles, and I'm taking the points.
All right, so disagree on that one. We finally come to the last game of the week in what I think will be a kind of boring game. We have the Minnesota Vikings going to Levi against the San Francisco 49ers, who are inexplicably wearing black for this game.
Yeah.
Just defies all belief and all logic. And for that reason alone, I'm going to pick the Vikings, to be honest. Those just suck.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the Niners black alternates. There are just some teams that you don't add black to, and the Niners are one of them. They did have black as an accent color for a bit in the 90s.
Right.
But traditionally, they're red and gold and white. And so you can't – to go against tradition like that, it's a travesty. I know some
outrage,
people think,
right?
Yeah, I know some people think that they look cool. I mean, I think they do kind of look cool, but the Niners they are one of the teams that don't need an alternate jersey.
They're trying to be like the Raiders, I feel like, almost.
Right.
Like,
and actually,
why are they trying to be like the Raiders when they've been so much more successful than the Raiders? And the only advantage the Raiders have over the 49ers, in my opinion, is 1, fan support, 2, uniforms. And
and
they're trying. It almost feels like they're trying to be like the Raiders.
I don't know about the uniforms part because I think the Niners regular classic uniforms are the best.
I love the Raiders uniforms. I love the Raiders uniforms. The silver and black all day.
They are definitely among the top 2 uniforms in looks in football. But I just think I like the classic red, gold, white, and look for the Niners. So I mean. You could go either one. I think the Niners have better uniforms personally.
Right.
They're regular uniforms. But anyway, like the Raiders actually, when the Niners came out with their black uniforms, the Raiders came out with a gold alternate faux alternate uniform as like a joke. And that looks better than the Niners black uniforms that they're actually going to be wearing.
That's funny.
Monday night. But all uniform talk aside, I'm going with the 49ers on this one. Even though I think the Vikings are going to have a solid year, I think the Vikings are going to win 10 games this season. I just think the Niners are going to come out strong and get that first win. The Niners, I believe, in the last 5 or 7 years, I think, are undefeated on Monday Night Football. So
really,
that's a neat stat. So I'm going to the Niners on this one. The Vikings are the favorites, however, -2. It's kind of a toss game.
I'm going with the 1.5. And this is an interesting game too, because this is Adrian Peterson's first game back since the second game of last season.
Right.
And everybody thinks he's going to come back and just be the same old Adrian Peterson that he was before everything happened last year. Personally, I think he will be, so I'm going to stick with the Vikings in this one. And I mean, honestly, the 49ers had a terrible offseason.
They did.
And I think it's going to translate. I think they had the worst offseason of anybody. And I think that's going to – and it's fitting that they have to play last, too. I mean, I'm sure they're ready to get this offseason over with, but they still have to wait an extra day. So it's kind of fitting that they have to play last on the Monday night schedule. And I just think that they're not going to be good this year. Vikings win this one.
Yeah, I don't think the Niners are going to be good this year either, but I think they're going to start off with a NFL season opening win. All right, now that we got the picks out of the way, you want to go on to the next topic, Brian?
Yes, let's move on to the team that we cannot stop talking about, positive or negative. In Ethan's case, positive. In everybody else's case, negative. The New England Patriots. The Outside the Lines report that was released this week. From what I can gather, it says that basically Deflategate or Ballghazi, whatever you want to call it, I think Ballghazi is perfect, was basically a makeup call for Spygate to the NFL owners. That's what I've been able to gather,
right?
As far as I can tell. And that until this, the NFL kind of viewed the Pats as a golden franchise. Ethan, you've probably read all 10,000 words.
Yeah, I did.
You definitely have an opinion, so go ahead.
Yeah, it was ridiculous how long that article was, while they weren't really providing all that much new information. This article was pretty much just rehashing and bringing back Spygate, which pretty much everyone had forgotten about. It's old news, and I was pretty pissed off because Tom Brady was exonerated, or his suspension was repealed, and he's going to start the first game of the season. He's going to play all 16 games, barring any injury in the future. The Patriots are going to unveil their banner Tuesday night, which the article came out on. The NFL Network was debuting the Patriots America's game. And then last night, which we can talk about a little bit after, was...
Which I need to finish, by the way.
Right, so was the show Do Your Job, which was excellent. Excellent.
Don't tell me what the Seahawks do on the 1 yard line.
But
they run it. Beast
and so
running back.
Yeah, and so anyway, this was like literally, I was like, oh my God, you got to be fucking kidding me. Like, you're bringing up Spygate again? Like, that's old news. And while I agree with the fact that I think part of the reason why Goodell went overboard with Deflategate or Ballghazi was because he was trying to make up for it was like a makeup call for the appearance that the punishment for the Patriots for Spygate was light back in 2007, which, I mean, it's debatable. I think at the time I thought the punishment was fine. The Patriots were caught, they were punished, but in hindsight, I'm kind of looking back at it a little bit, and maybe instead of fining Bill Belichick only $500,000, fine him $250,000 and suspend him for a game or two, because $500,000 for a coach is like a lot of money. But anyway, I don't want to talk about Spygate. I just want to, in terms of this article, I kind of found it appalling at the amount of how many unnamed anonymous sources there were that were used in this article. And I know, Brian, you were a fellow journalism major too.
Right.
When we took journalism classes, we were taught that there, in only extreme circumstances, are sources allowed to be anonymous. And
that's
one of the two extreme circumstances was if the person's life or livelihood was in danger, if their identity was revealed, or if it provided a threat to national security or whatever. And so, I mean, I was talking to Jeff about this briefly earlier. Jeff, an insane Ravens friend, by the way, for those of you who don't know. But
who's rooting for the Steelers tonight, or by the way.
Because he hates the Patriots more than the Steelers. Or at least their fans.
Makes no sense, but whatever.
Fans more, but whatever. It's neither here nor there. But I was talking to him earlier today, and I'm like, this has got to be one of the darkest times in the history of sports journalism. Like, it is embarrassing how what ESPN has been doing. They've been proven wrong on a number of occasions in their facts, I should say, put in air quotes. Their articles, and this article included, you can poke holes into it. So, and also, they still haven't apologized for the false Chris Mortensen report that 11 of the 12 footballs were deflated by 2 psi, which was proven to be false. And they still haven't apologized for that. And they also continue to report, despite apologizing for it, but they continue to report or cite the false report that the Patriots allegedly taped the Rams walkthrough and before the Super Bowl in 2002, which was proven to be false because the Boston Herald, which was the paper that originally reported it, retracted that article and that statement and that fact and apologized for the Patriots. So, I mean, it's just mind-boggling to me how poorly this entire story has been, or a saga has been reported. And I really think that 11 out of 12 footballs were 2 psi under really was what spiraled this story out of control at the beginning. And so back to the article itself, I mentioned that some of the accusations in the article about the Patriots stealing play sheets or whatever, I'm highly skeptical of that because, one, the security at Gillette Stadium is extremely tight. No one can just waltz right into the opposing team's locker room without being stopped. And two, I forget what I was going to say. But also, yeah. Anyway, so but that's the big thing that I find false. And also, the article failed to mention that taping other teams' hand signals is not necessarily, or it's not illegal.
Well, it's
not just right. It's just where the Patriots in Spygate. It's where the Patriots were filming the other team, the Jets signals that was the part that was illegal. They were filming it from an illegal part of or unauthorized part of the stadium. They were filming it from the sideline, which is a no-no. But if they're up in the press box, they can film the other team's signals as much as they want.
As far as
it's still legal. It's just like stealing signs in baseball. And a number of coaches, Bill Cowher, Mike Shanahan, John Madden, Jimmy Johnson, they've all said that every team tries to steal the other team's signals. It's nothing new. It's nothing out of the ordinary in that. And so, I think
I've gathered so far from this is that it's very damning to Roger Goodell, even more so than just about everything that's happened since he took over as commissioner. This is almost as damning.
Right.
I mean, would you, if he really did end up doing this as a makeup call, that just shows that he has absolutely zero integrity whatsoever.
Yeah.
But we already knew that.
We already knew that. And Goodell's a giant hypocrite because he throws integrity around so freely.
Right.
When he, but
I don't really have much of an opinion on it, but
the thing is, another thing that is trying to condemn Roger Goodell in this, but the way that it was written in the story, it made the Patriots look even worse also. I mean, this article slams both Goodell and the Patriots. It makes the Patriots look terrible as much as it makes Goodell look terrible, just the way that it was written. But Goodell did show the what was on the tapes to the owners before he destroyed the tapes, and that was misreported in that article also. And to go on to the fact, as we're getting into whether ESPN can be considered a reliable source anymore, ESPN wrongly attributed and edited pieces
Mike Reese.
by Mike Reese.
Yeah, I saw that earlier today.
Yeah, and so that just it further proves the Patriots fans' suspicions and my suspicions, as well as I'm sure even the Patriots, the organization's suspicions that ESPN is the NFL's ear and is spouting NFL propaganda and is the NFL's mouthpiece through ESPN, which, I mean, I find this very troubling as a fan and as a aspiring journalist. And I've kind of made this comparison before, but like the NFL, the way that it owns these media markets, ESPN, or outlets, ESPN, NBC, CBS, and Fox. Well, ESPN is the worst out of all of those media outlets. But the NFL is kind of like communist Russia. I mean, they have a socialist revenue sharing system, and they own the media outlets. So, I mean, that's like communist. It's almost communist.
So you don't think there's any grain of truth at all to this report at all?
I'm very skeptical.
So
let's put it.
So
at
you're
that.
not buying any of this at all. Okay.
Basically. I mean, if there were actually more than one like identified source, I would be led to be. I would believe it a little bit more. But the fact that the only credited source that they have in the article is Matt Walsh, who has been proven to be a liar, and I told you this earlier too, a few days ago, makes me highly skeptical of the article. No, I'm not denying that any of this could be true. I'm just very skeptical about the story.
What I found interesting was that finally somebody actually backed up, and I don't know who reported this, but it's been big news around here that the Patriots were filming the Carolina Panthers before the Super Bowl that they played in. I think it was 10, 12 years ago, something like that.
I think so. I think a lot of this is just paranoia. I mean, the Celtics of the '80s faced a similar thing with like Red Auerbach. He would turn the heat off in the opposing team's locker rooms, or he would turn the heat on. Actually, not the heat off because they didn't have air conditioning in the old Boston Garden. But he would turn the heat up. I mean, a lot of this, to me, from that story, just seems like it's paranoia because none of these claims have actually been proven, other than the Patriots filming the Jets' hand signals from an unauthorized filming location, and the Patriots were punished for that. But a lot of this, because there's no source attributed to it. It's just an anonymous source. To me, it's like the ghosts of Bill Belichick and this persona and the boogeyman of Bill Belichick. It just, to me, it screams paranoia from the other teams in the NFL. And to me, as a Patriots fan, that actually kind of makes me feel a little bit good, because the fact that the Patriots own so much real estate in the opposing team's heads is like brings joy. It's just like the Patriots are that good that teams are constantly paranoid about the locker rooms being bugged, stealing play sheets, what have you. And none of it has been proven. Like the Colts, they have never, ever found a bug in their locker room. So there's no actual proof behind any of these claims, which is a reason why I'm skeptical of this article, because it's all hearsay, and it screams paranoia.
I mean, I think it remains to be seen if it's all actually true. I don't know enough about it. I know that's pretty damning to both the Pats and Roger Goodell. But would you let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. Let's say this article does end up taking down Roger Goodell. Would you be okay with that? I mean,
I would be okay with that, because, I mean, Roger Goodell is incompetent. Even say Goodell, this was an overreach and was trying to correct what some perceived to be a light punishment on the Patriots for Spygate. The fact that he tried to correct what was perceived to be a light punishment for Spygate with overreaching his bounds for something as trivial as a PSI in the football, then that just shows how incompetent Roger Goodell is, no matter that these anonymous claims of the Patriots accused of cheating or pushing the boundaries, over pushing the boundaries, is not proven. So that would be good enough, because it's like what you say. It's the lesser of two evils, and the worst of two evils getting removed is better than having him stay
I think it would
in
ultimately.
place. What?
I think it would ultimately make the league a lot better. Jeff and I were actually talking about this the other day. He thinks that the NFL would never vote Roger Goodell out of power because of the fact that he makes money for the league. But the thing about the NFL is it's the NFL. And you can put somebody in power to run the NFL, and they're still going to make money for the league.
Right.
Like, it's going to happen no matter what.
And I was actually talking to my mom about this too. There is no other league that has ever gone so far out of its way to defame one of its greatest franchises, one of its greatest coaches, and one of its greatest players, like the NFL has with the Patriots, Bill Belichick, and Tom Brady. It's just mind-boggling to me that a league would do that to one of its premier franchises and players and coaches. And I think it speaks to the incompetence and tone deafness and lack of integrity by Roger Goodell. Like, you've never seen this with the Yankees. You've never seen this with the Lakers or Celtics in the NBA. You never see this with the Canadians in the NHL. It's only in the NFL that this has ever happened. You didn't see this with the Cowboys of the 90s. You didn't see this with the 49ers of the 80s. It's just mind-boggling to me how much of a witch hunt this actually was, which I think that article also confirmed that Deflategate was essentially a witch hunt on the Patriots and Tom Brady.
All right, so
I think we've talked enough about this. Let's move on.
I really can't talk about it anymore. Like, I have nothing to say. I guess you want to move on to the walk-off now, or?
Well, I thought you wanted to talk about those Texas high school kids.
Oh, right. So let's talk about that first. All right, so moving on now, we'll talk about this story out of Texas. Really an interesting. It's a high school. It's two kids. I think it's John Jay High School. Against, who are they playing? It was like North San Antonio or something like that. It was a game last Friday, and there was a terrible call in the game that caused John Jay to lose. And in retaliation, or what appears to be retaliation, now we don't really know the whole story. What it looks like, at least, from what all reports are stating, everything we've heard, it looks like these two kids blatantly tackle and basically assault this poor referee. Now, there's some allegations that the ref was saying racial slurs, which could change things. Obviously, I'm not saying go out there and tackle, a poor, helpless guy like that, but there's other ways you can take out your frustration, obviously. Right. And I think these kids should not only be suspended, but I think they should be facing expulsion. I don't know if they are, but I think they should be.
I know that these kids have been suspended from playing football. Like they've been kicked off the team, kicked out of the league that the John Jay High School plays in. In all fairness, it was a good hit. It was just on the wrong person. You don't hit or tackle or attack referees, no matter how bad the call was. You can be mad at the referee, but in no way, shape, or form is it appropriate to attack and assault and just basically take a blindside, cheap shot hit on an unsuspecting referee, because no matter how bad the call was, referees are human. They all make mistakes, especially at the high school level.
Right.
It's really not appropriate at all for this to have happened. Even if this referee said a racial slur, which I didn't even know happened that might have been the case until you said it yesterday. I didn't even see any reports of it, of that being the case or of that being claimed.
Right.
So I think it's good for the league that they kicked these players out of the league, suspended them. I think the coach needs to kick them off the team so they can't come back at all. They can never play football for that at John Jay again.
You don't think expulsion is acceptable here, or do you think it is?
No, I think any type of disciplinary is well within its rights.
Right.
With these kids, because I mean, really, the official could file assault charges because it wasn't within the play of the game. It was totally unprovoked, from what it seems like. And even if the racial slur thing is true, it's still unprovoked. And to me, it's assault. So
right, that's what it looked like to me. That's how I would borderline it. Anytime you've got two defensive players at football coming right at you, tackling you in that way on the field, no less. That's how I would probably describe it.
And these players, they didn't even try to hide it.
Right. That was my next point. That, it would have been one thing if the kid had ran into the referee and tackled him and the guy had not jumped right on top of him. Maybe people would have said, okay, that was just an accident. But they made it pretty obvious as soon as the second kid jumped right on top of the referee.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's what was going on in this case. And like there's different ways to take out your frustration in any situation than this. It's not the way to go about your business. It is the most unsportsmanlike thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
What did you say, Dad? What if they were ordered to do it? I mean, either way, that's unsportsmanlike on the assistant too. Even if they,
I mean, if they were ordered to do it by the coach should be fired immediately.
He said that according to this article I'm reading right now, the coach has been placed on administrative leave for telling the players that the referee, quote unquote, needs to pay for cheating us. So I don't know why they're putting him on leave. Why can't he just get
straight out
instantly?
fire him? I mean, I think even administrative leave is a nicer way to say it.
True.
So,
sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, I just said I think administrative leave is a nicer way to say it, but that coach doesn't even deserve the decency to say that he was fired nicely. He just needs to say that he was fired.
And my dad just told me that, basically you're innocent until proven guilty. So there could be, obviously there's going to be tons of investigation into this. This story's not going to go away, I don't think. This is going to stick around. And hopefully it does, because I'm going to be interested to see how this turns out.
Right.
And I like that the Northside School District Athletic Director, he said this quote, "We are obligated to use this as a teachable moment. As educators, we've got to take this opportunity to teach our young people 2 wrongs don't make a right." I like that, I feel. And, I think this is just an ugly situation.
Yep.
I've said about all I can say about this. Let's move on to the walk-off. You have anything you need to say, Ethan?
So I talked to you about this earlier. I think yesterday, but Braylon Edwards tried to bring race into the Balgazi.
We're still talking about
overturning the suspension or vacating the suspension, and I just think that's just an asinine thing to say, because this had nothing to do with race. I think Braylon Edwards is an idiot for even thinking that.
It's Brandon Marshall.
Brandon Marshall. Sorry. I think Brandon Marshall is an idiot for saying that. And I actually think Brandon Marshall is actually kind of a smart guy, but that does stupid things. I think he's very well educated. But this is just one of the most ignorant things I've ever heard in regards to Benghazi or Deflategate. That's all I have to say.
All right, so I have nothing to say to that, basically. I agree. I said everything I needed to say to you about that yesterday.
Right.
I agree with that. I don't know how well educated you can be if you went to UCF, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I watched the Brandon Marshall of Football Life on the plane ride back from Colorado on Monday. And from what I saw, he seemed pretty educated.
Right. I mean, he's a smart guy. I just think he said something dumb.
Oh,
either way,
totally.
I'll just say something quickly, and we'll get on out of here. I just want to comment on the this new picking system that's been going on, or at least went on last week during College Game Day on ESPN, which is, in my opinion, the best show ESPN has, and it's not even close. I love College Game Day. Usually whenever I wake up on Saturday or if I'm coming back from work, the first thing I'll turn on will be College Game Day. But the most exciting part about College Game Day, you have all these great parts of College Game Day, and it all leads up to the climax, basically, which is the picks at the end. And, you know, it used to be so much fun when, you know, they're just picking the games, they're just picking who wins, having a good time with it. But now they've implemented the lines, the over-under. So they could be picking a team to win, they've implemented the lines and the over-under, but they're picking the spreads now. They're picking if teams are going to cover or not. And so they could be picking Ohio State to win, but they could be picking but instead, you know, they're picking Michigan to cover, or, you know, such and such. But I just think it's just a terrible way of doing it. It goes to show that, I guess, College Game Day knows its audience. It's a lot of people who bet on college football. But either way, I just think that, you know, if you're going to bet on college football, do your own research. Don't, you know, rely on College Game Day to tell you otherwise. College Game Day is sacred. Right. I mean, those picks are legendary. Lee Corso puts on the headgear. You get a celebrity guest. You have the crowd behind you going crazy. I mean, College Game Day is an iconic television show in sports, and it's messing with it. And it was really hard to watch last week because of this. That's all I have to say. I already tweeted this at them, telling them to change it back and complain. But
got any word back?
College Game Day, change it back. Change it back to the way it was. Change picks back to the way it was.
Did College Game Day reply to your tweet, Brian? Did College Game Day reply to your tweet?
No, they did not reply to my tweet, unfortunately. I was disappointed. I was hoping there'd be more tweets that were like, "Hey, this is BS. You know, make this stop." Like, I was legitimately bothered by it, to be honest. I love College Game Day.
Yeah, this is what I have to say about it. I just think it's kind of funny or interesting that ESPN is promoting people to bet on college football.
Basically, that's what it is, right?
Yeah. So I think it's weird that ESPN is encouraging people to bet on college sports, and college sports is supposed to be sacred in terms of amateurism and stuff, and you're not really supposed to make money off of college sports,
right?
But people do anyway. It's just, to me, it's kind of. I mean, I guess ESPN's not being hypocritical, but NCAA is kind of being a little bit hypocritical in terms of.
I would agree
that they allow this to happen.
Yeah, definitely. But that should do it for another exciting episode of the Sports Pulse. Thank you all for joining us. Enjoy week 1 of the NFL season.
What's taking us out?
What's taking us out? I'm going to stick with the AC/DC theme on this one, and we're going to go with Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Good song too. Good. I don't know if you've ever played it, Ethan, but there's actually a pretty fun drinking game that goes with this song. I'm going to encourage you to look it up.
I know about this drinking game. I don't think I've played it. I might have tried playing it before, but it's death. It's death.
It's death in the form of a drinking game. But AC/DC taking us out. They let us in. AC/DC taking us out. You all get pumped for week 1 of the NFL season, and we will see you next time here on the Sports Pulse. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, Goodell.